Our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon.
Oh, hush. Well, I've got it on mute. Or I've got it volume turned down on the way, so hopefully that'll... Oh, there we go. There's airplane mode. Good. Okay, that should do it. All right, we're about 30 out. I'm sorry, I used to work. Tony.
The time is
And good
10
morning.
a.m.
Thank you for tuning into the Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service. My name is Dory, and I'm here with Tony, and we invite you to listen to our broadcast both live and on demand. Our live sessions are available on the Blind Community Thrift Store YouTube channel Monday through Friday between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. each week. Additionally, you can access on-demand content through the Audio Reader Network, which offers a wide range of audio materials for the visually impaired community. To explore content from the Audio Reader Network, please visit www.reader.ku.edu. The site provides details about accessing content via Amazon Alexa, Audio Reader Network mobile app, and information on receiving a radio to listen to the broadcast by KSMU Radio. All broadcasts are played over KSMU's subcarrier airwaves at 67 kilohertz on 91.1 from 3 to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Contact Audio Reader Network for information on receiving a pre-programmed radio. All right, and would you like to read the first story?
Sure. All right, here we have from the Springfield Daily Citizen a photo of a couple. Looks like they're carrying some produce out to a Springfield community garden. With community food fridges emptying almost as soon as they're stocked, signs of a tightening economy in Springfield are quiet but visible. Yet so are signs of small acts of sharing. Farmers give away the food they once hold to help fill fridges. There's even food inside little free libraries that once held mainly books, and neighbors are helping to put it there. In her 2024 book, The Serviceberry, Abundance and Reciprocity in the Natural World, botanist and plant economist Robin Wall Kimmerer has a name for this kind of exchange, a gift economy, one based on reciprocity rather than profit. And earlier this fall, as I began noticing these small acts around my own community, I wondered how they were connected and how they point to an ancient way people respond in times of need. And there's a photo of a little free library. It's got a couple shelves full of books, and the bottom shelf appears to be full of canned goods and some little trinkets. On a Sunday morning in September, I sat in a dusty truck rolling down a country highway in north central Missouri, getting ready to stuff Kimmerer's book into a gift bag I'd bought at a dollar store along the way. My big sister's surprise party in Warrensburg that afternoon would be the icing on the cake of a 6-day road trip to Minnesota, Iowa, and now Missouri again. In more than 1,000 miles, my traveling companion, husband, and I had just covered about every conversational topic we could think of, so as he drove us west, I decided to take a look at the book before I wrapped it. When I found the book at the Minnesota Marine Art Museum, I knew my sister, a University of Missouri Extension Master Gardener Emeritus who has sketched birds and grown many plants, would appreciate not only Kimmerer's writing, but John Burgoyne's illustrations. The colorful book features 2 cedar waxings, one flying, one perching, with a serviceberry in its beak among leafy branches of red and purple berries. As we drove past endless acres of corns and soybeans, I took a peek inside and was fascinated by the ideas within the slim volume. Kimmerer's book opens with a simple story, neighbors gathering surface berries on a New York farm, taking what they need and leaving the rest. For generations, she writes, service berries fed birds and wildlife, and Native Americans who dried them into energy bars to sustain them through lean seasons. As her bucket fills, Kimmerer reflects on the pleasure of receiving an abundant gift she has done nothing to earn, and on an Anishinaabe worldview in which all gifts come from earth and carry an obligation of reciprocity. Gratitude and reciprocity are the current gift of an economy, and they have the remarkable property of multiplying with every exchange. Kimmerer asks whether traces of that kind of economy still exist today in free farm stands, little free libraries, and other quiet acts of sharing that persist along a modern market system built on scarcity. Before we made it to Warrensburg that afternoon, I'd finished the book and stuffed it into my sister's gift bag. Yet as fall gave way to a holiday season of gift-giving, Kimmerer's idea of a currency of gifts kept flowing through my imagination as I began a scavenger hunt for such currencies within my own community. In nature, those currencies flow everywhere. Take the gift exchange surrounding the serviceberry itself, a summer fruit-producing shrub or tree, commonly dubbed Juneberry, calls Missouri home. When the cedar waxwing gobbles it up, some of that carbon becomes the feathers that paint a yellow band on its tail, which flashes in the afternoon light. When that feather falls to the ground, it becomes food for beetles, who become food for a vole, whose death feeds the soil, who feeds the serviceberry seedling just germinating at the end of the woods. It's a cycle Ozarks wilderness survival instructor and naturalist Bo Brown, a longtime forager like Kemmerer, can't help but consider too. There's a photo of Mr. Brown resting against the trunk of a tree, a lot of fallen leaves on the ground. On the nature walks he leads, Brown often points to the mutually beneficial relationship between mushrooms and trees. Some parasitic fungi kill trees, yet others are mycorrhizal, improving the soil even as they derive nutrients from tree roots through filaments called mycelia. It's that kind of reciprocal giving, that's basic ecology, he says. A lot of ecological systems only work because all the parts are there. Ancient human gift economies parallel this natural cycle, Kemmerer points out, describing potluck celebrations among indigenous people in the Northwest where gifts circulate within a group. The idea of reciprocity is one American Indian Center of Springfield Executive Director Valerie Badhorse, a member of the Chippewa tribe of Anishinaabe, also grew up with. We're always taught that if we go and take something, like you pick a flower, then you have to leave something for that. It's always taught in the culture, Badhorse says. Let's see. The article goes on and describes a lot more of the cycle in nature and then gets to the point here, I feel like. During the federal government shutdown, when Barry and Leslie Millen heard that SNAP benefits would be reduced, they were concerned about some of the customers they'd come to know at Farmers Market of the Ozarks, where they sell the specialty cheeses they make at Terrell Creek Farm in Farmland. With the economy getting the way it is, and just the divisiveness in the country right now, and knowing that people are struggling, we felt we needed to do more, Leslie says, adding that at a cost of $7 for a 4-ounce tub, Terrell Creek cheese is too expensive for some of their customers. We have customers at market that use SNAP tokens for cheese. The Millions also learned that Springfield Community Gardens community fridges were emptying only minutes after they were filled at the Fairbanks, 1126 North Broadway Avenue, and through the Springfield Greene County Library District at Midtown Library, 397 East Central Street, and the Library Station, 2535 North Kansas Expressway. Food in the fridges is free to anyone in need. When SNAP was shut down, we were filling the fridges, and in 10 minutes they were empty, SCG founder and executive director Mael Otterson says. People were taking too much because they were panicked. The Millions can understand that feeling. A few decades ago, they were struggling too. Barry and I know what it's like to be food insecure and to be on SNAP because years ago when we were young, just getting on our feet, we had 3 children under the age of 5. I was just going to college and working part-time, and he was working full-time, Leslie says. We were on food assistance. It was very, very important to us. So this fall, when Barry suggested they spend a few more hours working to make cheese to give away each week, Leslie agreed. By Thanksgiving, they've been delivering cheese to the community fridges for about a month. Even though they aren't solving the problem of hunger, Leslie says it feels like we're doing something. Jason Hertz echoes her sentiment. Since the end of the summer, he and his wife Katie have been adding salads to the fridges from Box Turtle Farm, their organic vegetable farm in Mount Vernon. It just feels like the right thing to do, he says. We're able to do it right now. There's some cost to us, but we're doing all we can. Earlier this year, the Hertzes were living a dream. In 2023, Box Turtle Farm became part of a U.S. Department of Agriculture Local Food Purchase Assistance Program, through which the Hertzes and other local farmers sold products to SCG to help stock food pantries in a 17-county area around Springfield. Through that program, we were able to sell food that was to be donated, and it was a dream. Jason says, I got into this to produce food to be able to get it to people in need and to be paid for it. Then in July, after the USDA grant to SCG was cut, Box Turtle Farm lost 1/3 of its revenue, he says. Jason and Katie didn't stop supplying salads to community fridges, however. Jason harvests the greens, and he and Katie package them together before they're set aside for weekly deliveries to the fridges. They've appreciated hearing from recipients, Jason says. One thank you came from a young unsheltered woman homeless for the first time. She said that when she and her shelter mates came across the salad in the community fridges, it was oftentimes the only healthy food they had that week. At the core of a gift economy is sharing out of one's own abundance, Kemmerer explains in the service berry. In a gift economy, wealth is understood as having enough to share, and the practice for dealing with abundance is to give it away, she writes. In fact, status is determined not by how much one accumulates, but by how much one gives away. Tori?
And exciting news for the Nixa area, as Nixa is moving forward with plans for a skate park, Trails on Century Farm. This is from the Springfield Daily Citizen and is written by Zoe McIntyre. Nixa has big plans for the Eoff family farm, including a walking trail and a possible future event venue. The Parks Department is also in the early stages of planning a skate park after years of interest from residents. And there's a picture of the Eoff family home, a big sign saying coming soon, the Eoff family Century Farm Park. And they've donated their Century Farm property, as we mentioned, to the city of Nixa for the construction of a park. Nixa City Council approved a 5-year capital improvement plan with funding budgeted to begin early work on 2 long-discussed park projects, the Eoff Family Century Farm Park and a new skate park. Both projects received earmarks of $250,000 in the capital improvement plan. December 9th, Nixa's Director of Parks and Recreation, Matt Krause, said the city will put out a bid for a contractor to begin developing the farm park after the first of the year. The skate park is still in its early design phase. Members of the Eoff family donated 105 acres of farmland to Nixa in 2 roughly even parcels, split by Gwynn Road, or Route AA. The city acquired one portion of the land in 2018, another in 2020, according to records from the Christian County Assessor's website. Nixa has several amenities planned for the north half of the property, including a trail system, a possible future event venue, and river access. Krause hopes the trail will someday connect to the Ozark Greenway system in Greene County. The park may open to the public with a walking trail completed in 2026. He says it'll start off fairly low-key, but the idea of getting people on the property is the most exciting part, Krause said. And the banner reads, "Future park site includes forest and water." And following is a map of the proposed site plan for the Eoff family Century Farm Park from the 2020 Nixa Parks Master Plan. The Eoff Century Farm belonged to the family since the 1880s, according to Krause. 2 brothers from the family donated the property on the condition that it would become a park. Additionally, the city must preserve 2 structures on the site, a barn and a house, or build the structures back in likeness, according to the family's wishes. Records from the Christian County Assessor's site indicate the barn was constructed nearly 100 years ago in 1927. Follows is a picture of that barn, which again will be preserved or recreated according to the family's wishes. There's still a lot of debate and a lot of ideas of what we could do with that space, whether the barn becomes more of an event center or it could just be built back as an open-air pavilion, Krause said. The Parks Department plans to open the site with a walking trail in 2026. The department has planned about 1 linear mile of trail for the park. There will also be benches, picnic tables, and about 35 to 40 parking spaces on a gravel lot. In total, Krause estimated that developing the Eoff Family Century Farm Park could cost $15 to $20 million and take over a decade to build out. The next banner says new Nixa Trail could someday connect to Greene County, and we see that proposed connecting the Ward Branch Greenway along with the Kansas Extension multi-use path, and then on over to the Eoff Family Century Farm Park, showing the interactive map. Eoff Family Century Farm Park's walking trail will pass through forested land, bordered by a section of the James River, Ozark Greenway's Ward Branch Greenway, and Kansas Extension multi-use path terminate on the other side of the river, roughly 1 mile northwest of the Century Farm. Ben Tiegler, executive director for Ozarks Greenways, said Nixa's new park presents an opportunity for the city to connect to walking trails in Greene County. "That's the vision I see," Tiegler said. "It's an idea that makes a lot of sense, and it's worth exploring." Next picture is of the road facing east on Gwynn Road, State Highway AA. The Eoff family's 105-acre property divided roughly in half. We see the highway that divides that property in half in the thoroughfare. The Ozark Transportation Organization's interactive online map shows that in the future, Ozark Greenway's plans to build trails following the James River and Farm Road 141 into Christian County. Krause said the biggest obstacle is the river. How are you going to get across or get through the river? That will be one thing we'll have to tackle at some point on how we connect up there. Developing a plan and having, some ideas on how to do that will be the big plan moving forward. Ozark Greenways does not have a current plan of funding in place to achieve this. However, Tigler said, quote, there is precedent of crossing the major waterway in other Ozark Greenways developments. The vision that we connect Nixa to the greater system, Tigler said. He referenced the Chadwick Flyer Trail development that will someday link neighboring Ozark to Springfield. And the banner reading skate park plans move forward, and we see a shot of an old playground from Rotary Park, which will be making room for the mentioned above-ground state park. Nixa's 5-year CIP plan also designates $250,000 towards launching the development of the skate park. Krause said some members of the Nixa community first approached the city about this project in the early 2000s. There was a skate park committee made up of community citizens that really wanted a place for kids to skate and other things in town, he said. They did some fundraisers and there were several grants written. The city did not receive any of those grants, and Krause said the energy around the project, quote, slowed down over the years. However, there is still a desire for a skate park in the city. Nixa is now in the, quote, very early design phase of a state park, according to Krause. Rotary Park on McCroskey Street is being considered as the future site. The idea to remove a small playground and sand volleyball pit to make room for the skate park. Krause said the city would construct a new volleyball pit at Nixa's Community Center. The site of the Rotary Park lends itself to the design of a L or kidney bean-shaped skate park. Krause said it would be above ground and could be as big as 60 by 100 feet in dimension. Nixa is partnering with Joplin-based American Ramp Company, which has designed skate parks in Missouri as well as in other states and countries.
All right. Looking also just outside of Springfield here in Ozark, Springfield Daily Citizen, Zoe McIntyre comes to us saying flooded roads and complaints lead to a new plan for stormwater at an Ozark development. The Greenbridge Estates development has been controversial among neighbors since it was first proposed. This fall, heavy rain sent runoff from the site into the road and nearby properties. There's a photo of a woman, Amy Acker, standing out in a nature area in front of a tree. Work is continuing at an Ozark housing development that will create up to 88 homes off Greenbridge Road. Residents of the surrounding area have opposed the plans for subdivision, citing a variety of concerns from ease of emergency access to stormwater runoff and the fact that the new neighborhood will share the adjacent Stone Ridge subdivision's only entrance and exit. During periods of heavy rain this fall, runoff from the new development pushed muddy water and rocks across the road and onto some neighbors' properties. The project's engineer of record submitted a new drainage report and updated stormwater plans for the site on November 13th. I had never seen water shoot out like that. I mean, there were 12 or 16-inch rocks all over the road. There was gravel everywhere, said Amy Acker, describing the aftermath of the heavy October rain. Acker, a fifth-generation resident of Ozark, owns about 90 acres of property on the north side of Greenbridge Road. Her sister, parents, and grandmother all live nearby. Acker said she has big plans for her riverfront property in the future. She has used it as a venue to host community events, including Light the Way Christian Music Festival. My family prayed for over 20 years that they could be next to us on the river so that we could take care of each other, Acker said. Now she worries that the new development will present more flooding concerns for their properties. Any more water at all could really wreck basically my whole family. There's a headline that says development changes pattern of water drainage. A photo of Greenbridge Road homeowner Victoria Lyle as she's outside looking onto the future site of Greenbridge Estates. Victoria Lyle's property borders the site of Greenbridge Estates. Her former neighbor owned the land that is being developed on and sold it before moving. Since developer Terra Innovations acquired the property, the site has been raised with trees removed. These changes to the site altered the natural flow of stormwater. Lyle was not surprised when she began seeing stormwater directed onto the road and her neighbors' properties. It's literally everything everyone said would happen. They have a video of some significant stormwater running down away from the site. Ozark's Special Road District Commissioner Dwight McNeil told the Daily Citizen in late November that the road district met with representatives for the developer, contractor, engineers, and the city of Ozark after the October storm. The flooding would have caused some permanent damage. We couldn't just allow that to continue, McNeil said. McNeil also stated that the developer for Greenbridge Estates attempted to cut a new access onto Greenbridge Road without submitting a permit to OSRD. Effective December 1st, the road district ended a road maintenance agreement with the city of Ozark. Greenbridge Road is still being maintained by the Special Road District because some of the land surrounding it is in unincorporated Christian County. There's a headline that says, "New infrastructure will carry runoff to the Finley River," and a photo of a truck exiting the Greenbridge Estates work site. According to Ozark Communications Director Maria Nider, both the city and road district have approved the developer's revised stormwater plans, which were submitted in mid-November. The developer did not respond to a request for comment. A drainage report from the developer's engineer of record noted the drainage area floating towards the east increases in size as the site is developed. This report also described an existing natural channel to the north of the property that spills out onto East Greenbridge Road, causing drainage issues at that location. The revised stormwater plans specifically specify new infrastructure that will collect stormwater from the West Detention Basin and the channel that currently flows onto the road after heavy rain. A system of pipes and curb inlets will direct stormwater downhill to the north, routing along the 10th Avenue to a grate at the intersection of Greenbridge and Riverside Road. The water will ultimately flow into the Finley River. There's a photo of standing water from overhead. It's part of a detention pond in the development. Developer's project in another state led to lawsuit. Terra Innovations has developed residences and vacation rentals in several states, including the Sunkissed Hills waterfront property on Crystal Lake in Benzie County, Michigan. In November 2024, the Crystal Lake Watershed Association announced that it was suing Sunkissed Hills, LLC, which is connected to Terra Innovations. The lawsuit lists a number of defendants, including officials from the township Sunkissed Hills was developed in. The Sunkissed Hills development began with clear cutting of mature forest on the steep slopes and the filling of regulated wetlands. Due to the clear cutting and excavation, erosion from the site began to pollute, impair, and/or destroy the wetlands, Betsy Valley Trail and Crystal Lake, harming CLWA members' substantial recreational and property interests. The lawsuit alleges that the developer and township failed to file environmental protections required by the local zoning ordinance. It also states the developer constructed an unpermitted private road on the Michigan property and that soil and silt washed into the surrounding wetlands during periods of heavy rain. CWLA later dropped its lawsuit against the township, according to reporting from Interlochen Public Radio. Online records from the Benzie County Circuit Court indicate that the litigation against Sunkissed Drive LLC is ongoing.
And from the Springfield Daily Citizen, retired lawyer Salvatore has his law license suspended, but says he's the victim of more elder abuse. And the smaller headline reads, in a separate decision, the Missouri Supreme Court disbarred Springfield attorney Cody B. Smith. Follows is a picture of Ted Salvatore III conferring with defense attorney Buddy Macegrave in a Springfield courtroom on July 25, 2024. Salvatore was on trial for harassment. The Missouri Supreme Court on Tuesday, December 16th, announced the discipline in separate matters of Greene County attorneys Cody P. Smith and Theodore Ted Clifton Salvatore III. Salvatore, 89, had his law license suspended despite his ongoing claim he's done nothing wrong and is instead the victim of more elder abuse. Salvatore, who has been retired from legal practice, obtained his Missouri law license in 1960. He was convicted in August of 2024 of 2 counts of the Class C felony of first-degree harassment and 2 counts of the Class A misdemeanor of second-degree harassment. He'd sent threatening, racist letters to and about Springfield City Councilman Abe McGull and McGull's wife, Krista Hogan. She's the executive director of the Springfield Metropolitan Bar Association. Salvatore sent these letters to public figures and entities, including the Springfield Area Chamber of Commerce, the Springfield City Manager's Office, then Mayor Ken McClure, and members of the Springfield City Council. Some were anonymous, some were sent from Salvatore's letterhead. The Supreme Court determined Salvatore had committed, quote, crimes of moral turpitude, sending harassing letters into the public domain that baselessly targeted Hogan and her husband with threats containing racially charged language is contrary to justice, honesty, modesty, or good morals. Follows is a picture of Abe McGull, a council member representing Zone 2. This picture of him attending the Springfield City Council meeting. This picture was taken in April of 2025. The court pointed out that Salvatore's refusal to acknowledge the wrongful nature of conduct before and after being found guilty. Respondent wrote to the trial court characterizing himself as the victim and calling the charges bogus and evil. Salvatore responded to the disciplinary proceedings by doubling down on the same argument that had failed him in criminal court. He said he committed no crime because he was expressing his First Amendment right to free speech. Salvatore wrote, quote, "This show cause was filed at this holiday season only to do more harm to respondent, more elder abuse." A judge sentenced Salvatore in November 2024 to 1 year in the Greene County Jail for each of the 4 counts, but suspended the jail sentences and gave Salvatore a year of supervised probation. Salvatore had insisted on addressing the court prior to sentencing. He called the prosecution's case, quote, "an absolute lie." The next banner reads, "Family law attorney took fees, but allegedly did little or nothing." Springfield solo practitioner Cody P. Smith was disbarred on Tuesday. He'd already been placed on interim suspension. Multiple clients, according to Supreme Court documents, accused him of accepting a flat fee and then doing little or nothing to proceed with those cases. Many were uncontested divorces. The court concluded, quote, "Respondent Smith effectively abandoned multiple clients prior to his interim suspension. He habitually neglected clients, failed to reasonably communicate regarding the status of their cases and his representation, falsely represented to clients he had filed the necessary documents in their cases, and then misrepresented that delays were attributable to others." For example, according to court records, Smith falsely told clients that delays were the result of the sheriff's office or the clerk's office when they were, in fact, the result of his own inaction. Quote, "Respondent has demonstrated a pattern of neglect of clients and failure to communicate in 16 separate matters," according to documents. Next headline reads, "Lawyer was injured when hit by a truck." An attorney for Smith wrote that Smith graduated from Cooley Law School in Tampa Bay, Florida, and he, quote, "suffered serious injuries in June 24 when a truck plowed into the automobile he was driving while he waited at an intersection." Smith's attorney, Michael P. Downey of St. Louis, also wrote that in or about August of 2024, Mr. Smith was then hospitalized and nearly died after experiencing seizures and other withdrawal symptoms when he was forced to abruptly stop due to hospital clinic errors taking a medication, preventing the refill of his prescription. Downey, in defense of Smith, wrote that Smith was burdened by family law matters of his own involving a woman with whom he has a child. The woman, almost 6 years later, has continued to file custody modifications and contempt cases against Mr. Smith. Finally, Smith contended through his attorney that he failed to provide competent, diligent, and ethical representation to only 2 clients, not the 16 alleged.
All right, coming to us from the Springfield Daily Citizen, BK&M withdraws their rezoning application for National and Sunshine ahead of the vote. Apparently, the developer was not confident they had the required 6 votes for the rezoning to pass at City Council. There's a photo here of the intersection at East Sunshine and South National with traffic backed up. Efforts to rezone the northwest corner of National Avenue and Sunshine Street have again been shelved as developers with Be Kind and Merciful, LLC, have withdrawn their rezoning application. A representative for the developer told the Daily Citizen that they did not believe they could reach the 6 yes votes needed from the Springfield City Council to ultimately pass the rezoning. Springfield's Planning and Zoning Commission was expected to vote on the rezoning at its December 18th meeting after a 3-3 tie at the previous meeting delayed the commission's recommendation to the City Council. Under the latest application, BK&M was requesting to rezone the 2.6-acre site from single-family residential to O2 office zoning with a conditional overlay district that would allow and limit specific uses of the property while imposing requirements for operating hours, design requirements, landscaping, and other aspects of a potential development. The Planning Commission previously recommended denial of the now withdrawn application, but was required to issue a new recommendation after the City Council remanded the application back to the Commission at the developer's request so they could add hotels as an allowable use. In addition to hotels, the conditional overlay district would have allowed general and medical offices, nursing and retirement homes, park and community gardens, short-term rentals, residential uses above the first floor, and behind non-residential uses. While the rezoning application outlined development possibilities, the future of the property remains unclear both in terms of what, if anything, would be developed and who would develop it. After initially pursuing general retail zoning with the intention of developing the site, BK&M principal Ralph Duda has recently indicated plans to sell the property. There's a headline that says, "No immediate plans to submit a new rezoning application." Despite the changes to the developer's plans for the property, residents of the adjacent University Heights neighborhood remain steadfast in their opposition to the rezoning. Concerns have largely centered around the uncertainty of what could be developed, increased traffic on neighborhood streets, and the potential spread of non-residential zoning in University Heights. Had the revised application reached the City Council, it would have required a supermajority of 6 votes to pass due to a successful protest petition submitted by residents. Chris Wynn, an engineer with CJW Transportation Consultants representing BK&M, said the application was withdrawn because they did not think a supermajority of council members would support the rezoning. Based on conversations with city council members, we did not feel confident that we would get enough votes for a supermajority, so Ralph decided to pull the application, Wynn told the Springfield Daily Citizen via email. Should BK&M again seek to rezone the property, they would need to submit a new application and hold another neighborhood meeting before the case can go before the Planning Commission and, eventually, the City Council. Wynn said he is not aware of any immediate plans to submit another application at this time, while noting that that could change at any time. Duda did not respond to a request for comment before publication. BK&M's efforts to rezone the contested corner have been challenged in court, with a group of neighbors suing over deed restrictions that prohibit anything but single-family dwellings on lots across University Heights, including those owned by BK&M. While the circuit judge found in favor of BK&M, declaring the deed restrictions unenforceable, the neighbors have since appealed the ruling to the Missouri Court of Appeals, Southern District, where litigation remains ongoing. The case was scheduled for oral arguments in January, but has been subsequently removed from the docket due to a scheduling conflict.
And a reminder that Greene County's 2025 personal property and real estate taxes are due by December 31st. Citizens can look up their statements and make payments at www.countycollector.com. Don't wait, pay now to avoid penalty and interest. A reminder, if paid online, taxes are due before midnight on December 31st. If paid by mail, the envelope must have a USPS postmark no later than December 31st. If paid in person, in room 109 of the historic Courthouse in Springfield, the last day, 4:30 p.m. on Wednesday, December 31st. Citizens can also pay by phone at 888-523-0054. And you can find your tax ID and PIN with the green Statements and Receipts button at www.countycollector.com or on your mailed statement. Now, if you can't find an online personal property or real estate tax statement for 2025, contact the Greene County Assessor's Office at 417-868-4101 or email assessoronline@greenecountymo.gov. Citizens can also apply for the senior tax credit at greenecountymo.gov/collector/senior.php. And in another story from the Springfield News-Leader, the Dean of MSU's College of Education will be stepping down and returning to teaching. MSU College of Education Dean Barry Tinkler said, "I started as a teacher and I'm going to close my career out as a teacher. That is her goal." After 5 years as Dean of Missouri State University's College of Education, Barry Tinkler is stepping aside on July 1st. She'll transition to a faculty position on campus. Tinkler said she started in the classroom, and with retirement on the horizon, she wants to end her long career in the same place. And we see a picture of Mrs. Tinkler, the Dean of the College of Education at MSU. Smiling picture as she says, "As I move toward retirement, I really want to close out my career in that faculty role, working with students on a regular basis because I do love teaching," Tinkler said in a December 15th interview with the News-Leader. "In the role I'm in now, it's a great role, and I love the work that I'm doing, but I just don't get that daily interaction with students." Tinkler added, quote, "I started as a teacher. I'm going to close my career out as a teacher. That's my goal." MSU President Richard Biff Williams said, Provost Clorinda Williams will likely appoint an interim dean for the 2026-27 year, while a national search is conducted for a permanent replacement. Williams said the interim step is needed because the university is also searching for a new chief financial officer and the next dean for the College of Natural and Applied Sciences. In April 2019, Tinkler was hired by Missouri State to work as Associate Dean of the College of Education. She shifted to the dean role initially as an interim following the 2021 retirement of longtime leader David Huff. Growing up in a military family, Tinkler moved around but finished high school in Muskogee, Oklahoma. She earned a bachelor's degree at Northeastern State University, located in Tahlequah, and a master's degree in curriculum and instruction from Oklahoma State University. Tinkler has a doctorate from the University of Denver, worked at several universities before coming to Springfield. She joined Missouri State after 10 years at the University of Vermont. Quote, Missouri State was a school that I'd always known about. I had this idea in my mind that someday, maybe if there's an opening there, I might come back here, she said. And then I had the opportunity. Tinkler said she loves the campus, the faculty, and the staff are doing good work. Quote, I'm grateful that I've had the chance to work with all of them, but I do think the time is right for a new leader to come in, to bring fresh ideas and new energy to guide us forward, she said. Quote, I'm looking forward to supporting whoever that person is as things move forward. Entering the dean role, Tinkler said her goal was to build on what Huff accomplished. She focused heavily on strengthening and expanding partnerships with school districts. Quote, when I think about the work that I've done that I'm most proud of, it's strengthening those school partnerships, she said. The work includes the Future Educators Program with Springfield Public Schools, a focus on meeting the needs of rural schools with the Center for Rural Education, and Pathways for Paras, a registered apprenticeship program that makes it easier for paraprofessionals to obtain the degree possible to work as a special education teacher. That has been a lot to me because we're meeting the needs of our most vulnerable students, she says. Right now we're partnering with 150 school districts all across the state, but we're also giving a pathway for individuals, typically non-traditional students who might find it difficult to complete a degree otherwise, she says. Quote, the university is the largest producer of teachers in the state, and the offerings have also expanded with the launch of an education doctorate. She says we produced well-prepared teachers that really care about kids and want to make a difference in the lives of children and young adults, she says. That is something that will continue regardless of who is in the leadership role. The college is also a partner in Missouri's Success Ready Student Network, which is exploring innovative and better ways to measure what students know. She's married to Alan Tinkler, who is head of the English department at Missouri State.
All right, coming to you with some sports news from the Springfield News-Leader. How long is Patrick Mahomes out? What to know about the Chief QB's injury? The Kansas City Chiefs' Week 15 game against the Los Angeles Chargers went about as poorly as anyone could have imagined, and then some. The game was already a must-win for the Chiefs, who were on the brink of missing the playoffs for the first time in over a decade. Not only did the Chiefs end up losing the game 16-13, thus eliminating them from the postseason and effectively ending their season, but superstar quarterback Patrick Mahomes also suffered a season-ending injury. How did Patrick Mahomes get hurt? He went down in the final minutes of the Chiefs-Chargers game after being tackled from behind by Chargers defensive end Deshaun Hand. The veteran quarterback immediately reached for his left knee after the hit and remained down as he received treatment from the team's medical staff. He was eventually helped off the field and did not return for the remainder of the game. There's a photo of Mahomes on the ground with his hands covering his face and staff surrounding him. The Chiefs announced on social media later that day that Mahomes sustained a torn ACL in his left knee and that they're currently exploring surgical options. What is an ACL? The ACL is the common abbreviation for the anterior cruciate ligament in the knee. The Mayo Clinic refers to the ACL as one of the strong bands of tissue that help connect your thigh bone or your femur to your shin bone or your tibia. Injuries to the ligament can lead to swelling, loss of stability in the knee, and an inability to bear weight depending on the severity of the injury. ACL injuries are common among football players and in any sports that commonly involve sudden stops or changes in direction, jumping, or landing, per the Mayo Clinic. Treatment for the injury varies, but the malady often has to be surgically repaired. How long is ACL tear recovery time for NFL players? Recovery from ACL reconstruction surgery varies from person to person. However, football players typically require up to 9 to 12 months of rehabilitation to recover from the procedure, according to Medline Plus. When will Patrick Mahomes return? Given the anticipated recovery time, it's still unclear exactly when Mahomes will make his return next season. If all goes well with his rehab, we could see the three-time Super Bowl MVP suit up by around mid-September at the earliest.
And more sports news. MSU emerges, quote, from the depths of football hell to play in a bowl game. This is an article written by Wyatt Wheeler from the Springfield News-Leader. First off is a shot of Wyatt and Corey Riggs in a Zoom call, and they are taking a look back at Missouri State's historic 2025 season, just ahead of Xbox Bowl. Art Haynes watched intensely when Missouri State tried to get a stop against Liberty late in the fourth quarter. Months removed from retiring as the longtime voice of the Bears, Haynes saw Liberty quarterback Ethan Vasco mishandle the snap and the ball get kicked around until Bears edge rusher DJ Woslak picked up the ball and sprinted towards the end zone. It looked like a thrilling go-ahead score, only for Vasco to sprint down the field, punch the ball out before Woslak crossed the goal line, and for the ball to be funneled through the end zone for a touchback. Liberty took over at its 20 with a minute 49 left. The Bears were destined to be heartbroken. This was reminiscent of many Bears losses Haynes had called before, back when many had called for the dissolution of the football program, and instead used that money on basketball and academics. It only made the Bears' ensuing defensive stop and Jacob Clark's game-winning 13-yard touchdown pass to Tristan Gardner with 27 seconds left that much sweeter. And then the Art Haynes is quoted as saying, "It's exactly how things have changed." And we see a shot of a couple of Missouri State football players. It's captioned with they're notching their sixth straight win in a homecoming victory over UTEP. And Missouri State will be playing in its first ever bowl game as an FBS program when it takes the field at the Ford Center at the Star in Frisco, Texas. In its first FBS season as a member of the Conference USA, the Bears will be taking on Arkansas State, 8 p.m. tomorrow night, Thursday, December 18th, in the Xbox Bowl. The appearance comes amid arguably Missouri State's greatest football season ever, one that featured 7 one-score games, the program's first 6 wins over FBS programs since 1990, excellent play from one of the program's all-time greats at quarterback, and even a win from a true freshman backup starting behind center. It's the culmination of the Bears' 6-year rise from the decades of irrelevance. Quote, "This program has come a long way," Bears coach Ryan Beard said on November 29th, "from the depths of football hell when we got her 6 years ago to people taking pride in this organization." And following that, we see a picture of a Missouri State player, and then digging deeper as Missouri State football prepares for the Xbox Bowl. Missouri State's 2025 season has certainly been a thrill, says the headline. The Bears have come a long way since their 60-point loss to USC to start the season. A week after returning home from Los Angeles, the Bears took off to Huntington, West Virginia, where Clark threw an 8-yard touchdown pass to Jaron Ashrin with 2:12 left for ultimately the game-winning score against Marshall. The one-point win was when many started to believe that a special season was possible, and they weren't wrong. The Bears held an early 10-0 lead over SMU, which they hosted at Plaster Stadium, only to give up 28 unanswered. The Bears dominated the next week, beating UT Martin 42-10, a team they lost to in the FCS playoffs just 4 years earlier. On September 27th, the Bears hung with Western Kentucky, but Clark exited the game injured in the first half. Freshman Deuce Bailey stepped in and started the Bears' October 8th game at Middle Tennessee. He led the fourth quarter drive that resulted in Yusuf Obed's 29-yard field goal with just a little over 4 minutes left, leading to the Bears' 22-20 win. And we see a shot of Missouri State quarterback Jacob Clark looking to pass during the homecoming football game. Clark returned 2 weeks later and led the Bears to 4 more wins, the first of which came in overtime at New Mexico State, where he threw a 7-yard touchdown pass to Ronald Johnson. Another was in the Bears' victory over UTEP on November 15th, where he threw 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns after the Miners rallied in the third to tie the game. Finishing the season with a 7-5 overall record, Missouri State's most significant win just might have been when it officially became eligible to play in a bowl when not enough teams across the FBS won the required 6 games. Quote, "Early in the season, you thought they might win 4 games, Haynes said. A bowl game in the first year, that is just unbelievable. The next banner reads, Missouri State is turning into a football school. Historically a basketball school, the excitement around the football program has turned it into one that could be known for football moving forward. Missouri State announced that more fans walked through Plaster Stadium than in any other season since 1999. The university recently announced it received 3 seven-figure anonymous gifts to support football enhancements. Following is a picture of Missouri State head coach Ryan Beard entering the field before the homecoming football game on November 15th of this year. Additional large fundraising gifts are in the works. Missouri State hopes to upgrade its football facilities, retain coaches, and more. At the same time, Missouri State has seen a rise in its national exposure through TV appearances and in its national relevance in the bowl eligibility conversation. It's shocking. I mean, it really is, Haynes says. The support of the community, not just the everyday fans, but now I think the corporate community is buying into us. They're seeing what this is doing at a national level, and they want to be a part of it. The next banner reads, Ryan Beard was the perfect leader for Missouri State. At the head of it all was Beard in his 3rd season as head coach, a charismatic, ultra-positive leader whose team is brought into what he's preached. He was brought to Springfield in 2020 to serve as the program's defensive coordinator under Bobby Petrino, and since his promotion to head coach before the 2023 season, he's taken the program to new heights. Beard knew wins would be challenging to come by at the FBS level, but the Bears have found a way to win 7. Because of his quick success, Beard became a hot name on the coaching carousel, which ultimately led to him accepting the Coastal Carolina head coaching position on December 11th. Quote, Ryan has taken this thing into warp speed, Art Haynes says. He's just relentlessly positive and relentlessly energetic and passionate. He brings it to it all the time. In a 12-game season, you'd think it'd be hard to be at the top of your game, but he does the best job of that than anyone I've known. They buy into what he says. It's just a great personality that he has. It's real, and the players feel that. Missouri will now head into a historic bowl game with Nick Petrino serving as interim coach, hoping it can add one more win to its unprecedented season. No matter the result, Missouri State showed it belonged at the FBS level. Quote, after climbing out of the depths of football hell, the Bears will get their first little slice of football heaven. Art Haynes says, quote, we've come a long way. If there was something physically greater than doing a 180, it would be this.
Right, coming to us from the Springfield News-Leader, Willard businesses face uncertain future after shopping centers sale. One of the main shopping centers in Willard houses businesses of all kinds, a beloved coffee shop, insurance agents, a gym, medical services, and unique retail. But come the new year, the East Center at 304 East Jackson Street is likely to see significant turnover in the local businesses that occupy the space. After the property recently changed hands, business owners have reported hikes in rent that they say they can't afford to absorb for a space in a small town like Willard. Some businesses have already announced plans to shut their doors, while others say they are reviewing options. With Willard already a tight market for commercial property, retailers say the town is at risk of losing some of the options to shop and find services locally. There's a banner that says, "Concerns of becoming a ghost town." The Inn and Outlet, a discount bin retailer, has been open for business less than a year, but by Christmas it will shut its doors and no longer offer Willard shoppers a spot to hunt for the hottest bargains. Store manager Christopher Stewart said business owners were not aware the property even was for sale or had been sold until they started seeing representatives around the property and received letters from the new management. There's a photo of the East Center Plaza and their sign. Nearby business owners said rents were expected to jump significantly, up to 4 or 5 times the current amount. For the Inn and Outlet, this would turn a $3,000 monthly payment into a $12,000 one. Stewart said they were also asked to enter into a 5-year agreement with a 9-month notification period if they decide to leave. I can't speak for the other businesses, but from what we've discussed, everybody is assuming that we're all moving out of here because no one's willing to pay 3 to 5 times, he said. My assumption is this place is going to be a ghost town. Lacey Wilson has had her Brightside counseling services practice at the East Center since early 2020. With her lease up at the end of December, she is weighing her options, but said she is unlikely to remain at the Willard Shopping Center due to the expected rent increase. This was my dream, to work independently and, serve my hometown, Wilson said. In the 5 years, even just working part-time, I'm guessing I've helped at least 150 people. This is taking mental health services away from the community. There's a photo of her counseling service and also the In-N Outlet here in the East Shopping Plaza with traffic clearly visible. With notice of new management coming in November and facing her own family emergencies, Wilson said she still needed time to wrap up her practice with clients, as is the ethical thing to do. While she acknowledged that she is fortunate to have the option as a therapist to continue her work remotely through telehealth, she said there is a need for in-person mental health services in small communities surrounding Springfield. "I mean, my office survived COVID. It will survive this," Wilson said. "I don't fully want to go telehealth just because it's not what I intended. I intended to help the community." Banner says, new owners say rent prices have fallen behind market rates. The 5.7-acre shopping center was sold on November 5th to 304 East Jackson LLC and others, according to the Greene County Assessor Office's database. The property was appraised at $2.4 million by the county. There's a photo of the inside of the In-N Outlet discount retail store with additional discounts on top of its already discounted merchandise to try to prepare for the closure. The LLC is registered to Jack Rankin, an associate advisor at SVN Rankin Company, a Springfield-based commercial real estate brokerage firm, according to Missouri Secretary of State Business Database. SVN has already listed some of the retail space that will be vacated by current businesses in the new year. The firm's website lists the East Center retail space for $10.50 to $12 a year per square foot of space. In an emailed statement, Rankin said ownership has valued open dialogue with tenants and has been transparent about plans to update the rented spaces and common areas and bring rent prices up to market rates. He noted that the end goal is to find a happy medium that works for everyone involved. "Our goal has been and remains to keep rents on the lower end of the market while giving tenants the runway they need to adjust," the statement read. "We're genuinely invested in the success of every business at East Center. Like any business, the economics need to be sustainable. No business sells its product or service at a 75% discount, nor can ownership pay 2025 real estate prices while collecting 2010 rents. The numbers simply don't work." Business owners noted that communications have largely come from the Wooten Company, which is managing the East Center after the sale. Wooten could not be reached for comment. Banner says, hoping for additional commercial space. While the situation at East Center is a private business exchange with the city unable to play a role, Willard City Administrator Wes Young said it was disheartening to see local businesses struggle with decisions to close. There's a photo again of the East Center out from the road, showing a photo of the parking lot half full. "Obviously, Willard needs more commercial, not less," he said. "So the idea of potentially losing a significant part of our commercial base was very troubling. And a lot of these people, they're our friends and they're our neighbors, and you don't want them to suffer." When the In-N Outlet moved into the space in late 2024, it had to invest significantly to make the space work for the retail model, including widening doorways to accommodate large pallets. Stewart said that kind of space, with the loading dock and other features needed for a pallet store, is simply not available elsewhere in Willard. Wilson said it is also harder to find alternative business space when so many potential businesses are looking to move at the same time. Young said 2 developers have expressed interest in developing more commercial space in Willard. Last week, Young said he brought together those impacted by the East Center changes and the developers in hopes of connecting the dots and offering different options besides closure or moving away from Willard. He said the city will play its role by moving as quickly as it can to issue permits and ensure developers can build quickly. With significant investments and progress planned for infrastructure and growth, from sewer connections to road projects, Young said he is hopeful that businesses are able to stick around and will see prosperous times ahead. There's another photo from inside the In-N Outlet, the discount retail bin store, with its stock, looks like, marked down for purchase. Building still takes time, and Stewart was skeptical that a new build will charge any less in rent than a building that has been around since the 1980s. With the higher prices, he said there is a concern that only national large chains will be able to afford to move in. "We'll get national chains out here, and so we'll end up with, a Whataburger, a Starbucks, or whatever, and we'll become yet another cookie-cutter corporate town that loses all of its identity," Stewart said. "It'll be a nice homogenized mess out here." The city administrator agreed that retaining and supporting local business owners was paramount for a well-rounded community. "From the city's perspective, as I say, we will welcome any business that is willing to come here, but as a community, I really think we lose something by not trying to find ways to support our local businesses," Young said.
From the Springfield News-Leader, Missouri lawmakers vow to tackle mental health backlog in jails. This is written by Steve Quinn. A couple of key points. Missouri lawmakers are proposing new bills to address a backlog of nearly 500 jailed individuals awaiting mental health services. Some pilot programs intended to provide mental health services within jails have seen mixed results, with one county ending its participation. Lawmakers and law enforcement officials agree that the delays violate the rights of those awaiting treatment, who are often held longer than a potential sentence. The article begins with state lawmakers seeking solutions to a growing backlog of jailed Missourians awaiting help from the Missouri Department of Mental Health to move their cases forward. These Missourians have been charged but not convicted of crimes, and they were found incompetent to stand trial due to mental health disorders or cognitive disabilities. State law requires the department to provide services and treatment to help them, but in October, the average number of people on the wait list reached a new high of 487. Several bills filed ahead of the 2026 legislative session seek to reduce the backlog or build out options to get treatment for people with serious mental illnesses outside of jail. Some stakeholders say the bills have loopholes, but their sponsors maintain they will amp up discussion between lawmakers and the department about the roots of the problem and how the legislature can help. Two bills add requirements or consequences for the department. State Representative Jeff Vernetti, Republican from Camdenton, filed a bill that would require the department to reimburse jails for housing people on the wait list at a rate of $200 per person per day, as well as the cost of medication. And following is a picture of an empty jail cell. The caption reading, "The average number of people awaiting placement by the Missouri Department of Mental Health in psychiatric hospitals for treatment to allow them to stand trial has steadily increased." Again, that's nearing 500 in October. Another bill sponsored by State Representative Brian Seitz, a Republican from Branson, would oppose a 45-day deadline on the department to conduct court-ordered evaluations and require the department to transfer people ruled incompetent to a hospital within another 45 days. The bill would also require the department to submit annual reports to the General Assembly on competency restoration. Seitz said a key goal of his bill is to bring the department and lawmakers together in conversation to identify solutions. Quote, "This will open the dialogue to, quote, see that there's a problem. Let's diagnose the problem and solve the problem," Seitz said. He continues, "I think creating deadlines like I did in the legislation and then requiring an annual report will show us where the problem lies." Vernetti said the entire state, quote, "has to do a better job of finding ways to get people the help that they need." A bill filed by a pair of Democrats, State Representative Aaron Crossley of Independence and State Senator Maggie Nuremberg of Kansas City, seeks to establish guidelines for court-ordered involuntary outpatient treatment before a person gets a criminal charge. The state's framework for competency restoration, treatment, and services designed to allow defendants to have their day in court has been moving away from department-run psychiatric hospitals. A 2023 law authorized the department to offer jail-based competency restoration services and also allowed outpatient treatment for people who could be safely released on bond. The department launched 4 jail-based pilot programs in St. Louis City and County, as well as Clay and Jackson counties. But law enforcement officials involved in those pilots have reported mixed results. Crossley said his bill, which delineates a process for courts to assess whether involuntary treatment is necessary and for the person to respond, is designed to, quote, "make sure that we're not forcing people into a situation that is against their will unless it's absolutely necessary." He said it could also help the slow growth of the wait list for competency restoration services by helping people get treatment earlier. Quote, "We're talking about getting people help as early as we can," Crossley said, "and we know that when we help people with any healthcare issue, the earlier the better and the more restored they will be to live dignified lives in the community." Nuremberg says the bill would lay out a pathway to get treatment for people with serious mental health conditions who would be better served outside of a psychiatric hospital. Quote, "As I look at this from a state perspective, I think one of the things that should be compelling to individuals is that this is a more efficient model," Nuremberg says. Quote, "that it can be a more fiscally responsible model, and it can be a model that can be used to ensure that we are also not breaking individuals' constitutional rights." The banner reads, or the headline, "A Persistent Problem." The department has long acknowledged the growing number of Missourians who are waiting for a hospital bed to move their cases towards trial or dismissal. Months before the filing in November of a federal class action lawsuit against the department, Mental Health Director Valerie Hune in May told lawmakers on the House Health and Mental Health Committee that the wait lists left the state vulnerable to litigation. Quote, I just wanted to make everyone aware of some of the risks that we're taking on because we can't get these individuals from jail into our state-operated hospitals, Hoon said in May. Obviously, their illness is worse, and as their treatment is delayed, that makes it harder for us to turn them around. Dr. Jeanette Simmons, the department's deputy director, told The Independent in October that the wait list is growing because courts are requesting more competency evaluations and the department has a static number of hospital beds. Quote, as that number continues to increase, I'm not surprised that the number of folks found incompetent increases. Simmons said, quote, it clearly correlates together. The department maintains that everyone on the wait list is getting help. In addition to the jail-based pilot programs, the department indicated in October that 2 mobile teams of clinicians that visit jails statewide helped 117 people attain competency last year. But the jail-based programs have met roadblocks. Sarah Boyd, spokesperson for the Clay County Sheriff's Office, said Friday that the agency is terminating its agreement with the department in January. Quote, our goal in participating in this pilot program was to reduce the number of Clay County inmates awaiting placement in a Missouri Department of Mental Health facility, Boyd said. Quote, and this did not happen. Boyd said the number of people awaiting hospital placement in the jail stayed steady at 7 to 8 people during the pilot, and that the compensation the jail received from the department did not cover the cost of dedicating a pod to competency restoration. Returning that pod to full occupancy, Boyd said, will save hundreds of thousands of dollars. The sheriff's office will continue working with mental health staff the department had contracted as part of the pilot program, Boyd said. Quote, we want to be part of a broader solution, but in the current form of this program, it didn't work out, Boyd said. Cape Girardeau County Jail Administrator Richard Rushin said his agency built 2 mental health pods in the new jail opened in September, partly because the jail is expected to house people awaiting services from the state's mental health department. Rushin estimated that the pods, which contained 28 single-bed cells with cameras, cost $7.5 million of the $54 million the sheriff's office spent on the jail. Rushin said he supports Vernetti's jail reimbursement bill partly because of the cost of housing people with acute mental health needs, including medications and extra staff. Taney County Sheriff Brad Daniels says, quote, it wouldn't hurt to get some of those funds back from housing the inmates. Quote, but to me, that's not the big thing, he said. I'm not in this job to make money off of housing prisoners. I feel like we need to get them the help that they need so they can move on. And we see a picture of State Representative Jeff Vernetti, who is a Republican from Camdenton. This picture is him speaking during a Missouri House debate in February of this year. Vernetti said that, quote, money is not the motivation. This is about the discussion on the issue, because I think that if we just threw money at the current problem, that's only continuing the problem. Daniels says he likes Seitz's bill, which would give the department a 45-day deadline to place someone in a hospital. In recent weeks, Daniels said the department has been taking about 2 weeks to complete competency evaluations, often via telehealth. That's an improvement, he said, but wait times for a hospital bed are still long. Of the 7 people in his jail who've been ruled incompetent, Daniels said Wednesday, December 10th, one has been waiting over 14 months for hospital care. Once they've been determined to be incompetent, Daniels said, we need to get them out of here. Rushin said he would support the 45-day deadline Seitz's bill imposes on the department if the bill would actually hold them accountable for that, but he doubts the department would meet the deadlines. Quote, I hate to sound negative, but right now all they have to do is keep asking for extensions, Rushin said. While state law already requires the department to complete competency evaluations within 60 days, the department often takes longer, an average of 75 days according to fiscal year 2027 budget requests. There is no law capping how long the department can take to transfer someone to a hospital. Rushin said that many of the people who have been jailed and ruled incompetent in his county were charged with misdemeanors like trespassing. Quote, if they plead guilty upon the first hearing with an attorney present, they might get 30 or 60 days, or they might get 6 months. Rushin says that they end up getting about 18 months to 2+ years through this process because of the backup. He continues, it's gotten to the point where there's no due process anymore for these lower-lying laws, which is a violation of their rights. Addressing the underlying cause of the backlog, Nuremberg says, comes, of course, down to funding. Quote, departments have been telling us to do more to increase wages, and we haven't done that, she says. Unless we spend significant state resources to invest in our workforce in the Department of Mental Health and Department of Health and Senior Services, we're not going to do anything to able to alleviate the gaps that exist there. Seitz and Vernetti underlined a need to keep the department accountable in its spending. We spent money on the mental health department, Seitz said. I'm sure they do a great job in very many areas, but this is is one area seemingly that people have fallen through the cracks. Vernetti said a shortage of hospital beds, quote, would be the wrong answer for the department to give. Then we're going to start looking at their budget and saying, quote, okay, let's maybe move some of your budget from an area that you're not spending all of it, or maybe not spending it wisely, Vernetti said. Daniels and Richard said they hope lawmakers' attention to the backlog of people awaiting mental health services in jails will yield solutions. Quote, they don't deserve to be living like that, Daniels said. They need to get the help that they need so that they can either be found guilty or not guilty of the crime that they've allegedly committed and get on with their lives or serve their time.
Coming to us from the Springfield Daily Citizen, we have a Springfield man charged with sexually abusing a young girl. Others also claim he abused them. The subheadline reads that Springfield police are investigating claims a girl under 14 was sexually abused by 35-year-old Rusty Gottfried. Two others have also claimed they were sexually abused by Gottfried. The photo we see here of a police cruiser as they respond to a scene. A Springfield man is in the Greene County Jail accused of sexually abusing a girl under the age of 14. Rusty Gottfried, 35, has been charged with 3 counts of statutory sodomy and 2 counts of first-degree statutory rape or attempted rape. These charges stem from alleged incidents that happened in August 2025 in Springfield. According to the probable cause statement, the victim disclosed she was forced to have vaginal and oral sex with Gottfried. We see a photo of Gottfried taken by the Greene County Sheriff's Office. In a request for a warrant, the prosecutor wrote that there are 2 other alleged victims who disclosed that they were sexually abused by Gottfried. One of those alleged victims is now an adult and willing to testify against Gottfried as a propensity witness, the prosecutor wrote. The second alleged victim described being sexually assaulted by Gottfried in Christian County. According to the statement, she also disclosed this alleged abuse in forensic interview 2 years ago, but charges were not filed. The third alleged victim, who is now an adult and willing to testify as a propensity witness, allegedly disclosed Gottfried assaulted her when she was 11. Years later, when they were both adults, and years before the most recent sexual abuse allegations, Gottfried allegedly apologized to the woman, according to the statement. Gottfried is being held on a $100,000 bond. According to online court records, he does not yet have an attorney.
And we're currently broadcasting live from the Blind Community Thrift Store, situated at 2713 North Kansas Expressway in Springfield, Missouri. For additional information about our store, please visit our official website at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com to explore more of our video content, including movie reviews with Matt and Meredith, adaptive technology training videos, and other informative material. Please visit our YouTube channel by searching for Blind Community Thrift Store. Our organization is dedicated to supporting the blind community through various initiatives, and our online platforms serve as valuable resources for community engagement and education. From the Springfield News-Leader, a story about the affordable towing owner pleading guilty to money laundering and fraud. This is written by Marta Mees of the Springfield News-Leader. A couple of key points. A Springfield Towing Company owner pleaded guilty to federal charges of money laundering, identity theft, and mail fraud. Dennis Cleveland admitted to falsifying documents to illegally obtain titles for vehicles. He received at least $220,000 in cash by taking vehicles he couldn't get titles for to a scrapyard. The former owner of a Springfield towing company pleaded guilty to money laundering, identity theft, mail fraud in federal court on Friday, December 12th. Dennis Cleveland, 75, admitted to submitting falsified documents to the Missouri Department of Revenue to obtain mechanics liens and titles for vehicles. He owned and operated a towing company, used vehicle dealership, a body shop, a salvage dealer, and a vehicle repair business under the broader affordable towing umbrella. According to the plea agreement, Cleveland directed his employees to obtain mechanics liens and replacement titles from DOR for all of the vehicles that came into his company's possession, including forging signatures of lawful owners of the cars who had not given him the permission to apply for titles. The document notes he wanted liens and titles for the vehicles so he could then resell the vehicles and pocket the proceeds. Court documents state the title applications were sent in between April 2021 and November 2023. When Cleveland was unable to obtain a mechanics lien or replacement title for a vehicle, he instead took it to a local scrapyard where he received money for each vehicle. The plea agreement notes he received at least $220,000 in cash for vehicles taken to the scrapyard. And what follows is a picture of a sign of affordable towing and giving their services and phone numbers and hours. Court documents specifically mentioned Cleveland directing a mechanic lien title to be sent to DOR in 2021 that includes a forged signature of the car's owner who died several months prior to the application packet being sent. In 2023, he also knowingly caused the sale of a previously stolen car after fraudulently submitting repossession title documents to the DOR. Under federal status, Cleveland is subject to a sentence of up to 20 years of federal prison without parole for the offense of mail fraud and a sentence of up to 10 years imprisonment without parole for money laundering. For aggravated identity theft, he could face a sentence of 2 years, though this would run consecutively to the other offenses. These are all maximum statutory sentences, and the actual sentences that Cleveland will serve will be determined at a future sentencing hearing.
Coming to us from the Springfield News-Leader, looks like the City Council unanimously initiates eminent domain against the Hotel of Terror. Springfield City Council unanimously called upon its power of eminent domain to acquire the Hotel of Terror at 334 North Main Avenue at its Monday night meeting on December 15th. The city has attempted to purchase the 47-year-old haunted house attraction for years as part of a plan to replace the Main Avenue Bridge, which staff say poses significant safety concerns. Negotiations have failed, with the city unwilling to offer more than $2 million, while owner Sterling Mathis has asked for $3.5 million in order to move the business to the Dungeons of Doom and comply with all the city's code requirements. December 15th, all 9 council members voted in support of initiating the eminent domain process. No one commented on the matter ahead of the vote. There's a photo of the Hotel of Terror with the doors standing open. Now that the ordinance has passed, a 30-day clock starts ticking on the option to appeal the legislative action. Mathis confirmed that he plans to collect signatures for a referendum, something he successfully accomplished the first time in 2023. Per city charter, he needs to collect a number of valid signatures from registered Springfield voters equal to or greater than 10% of the total number of persons voting in the last general municipal election in April. Based on a recent referendum attempt, that number comes to 1,499 signatures. If Mathis collects enough signatures, Council will have the option to either repeal the ordinance, as it did in 2023, or send the issue to voters. At the time of the earlier referendum, the Council included a different slate of members than it does today. Should the matter go forward to eminent domain proceedings, a court-appointed 3-member commission would weigh all evidence, appraisals, and other documents to come up with what they believe to be a fair price. From there, either party could appeal and take it to a jury trial to determine the price instead. The city has said the decision to use an eminent domain addresses 2 main goals: to replace a nearby bridge before safety concerns worsen, and to alleviate flooding in downtown Springfield. The Hotel of Terror sits adjacent to the bridge, which has been flagged for replacement for more than a decade, with any further deterioration resulting in the need to close the bridge. The bridge crosses across Jordan Creek, which has seen historical flooding problems in downtown Springfield. Replacement of the bridge would also alleviate what city staff called a pinch point in the city's efforts to reduce flooding. The proposed replacement bridge would include a 2-way bicycle path and ADA-compliant sidewalks. When council held a public hearing on the matter, several professionals Mathis had engaged throughout the negotiations validated his asking price, and supporters of the Springfield Halloween staple called for the local business owner to be justly compensated and supported in his efforts to rebuild the Halloween attraction.
And the Springfield Business Journal has acquired the Daily Events. One of the oldest news publications in Greene County will be changing hands in the new year. The Daily Events, based in downtown Springfield, will be sold to the Springfield Business Journal. Springfield Mayor Jeff Schrag has owned the Daily Events for the past 30 years, so the newspaper has been around since the 1880s. He said it felt like it was time to retire, and after ensuring no one internally wanted to take over ownership and meeting with SBJ publisher Marty Goodnight, the sale would be the ideal next chapter for the publication. Quote, "I don't know that this is a full retirement. I don't know if I'll do something next," Schrag said, "but for now, this is where I am." And following is a picture of the Daily Events, their office, and we see a a window with the name, the daily events there. They're located at 310 West Walnut Street. And again, they are the oldest newspaper in Greene County. Schrag said there were a lot of similarities and overlap between the Business Journal and daily events, with both focusing on business and professional audiences. He said discussions about the sale began at the end of summer, and the transfer will begin final on January 1st, 2026. He was not willing to disclose the price. Quote, "It's unique that we have both an independent newspaper like the Daily Events and an independent business journal. Neither one are part of a chain," Schrag said, so this was a nice opportunity, too, for local ownership. While Schrag took on the role of mayor in April, he said the sale likely would have happened regardless of whether he'd been elected or not. Having the ability to take a step back will also allow him to focus more fully on his role as mayor.
Right, coming to us from the Springfield Business Journal. Looks like New Day has first day of serving unsheltered community. There's a photo of the new Day Center with a headline that reads, "Community Partnership of the Ozarks opened its New Day Center this week." A purpose-driven day center, whose operation is funded by a 3% tax on recreational marijuana, began serving the city's homeless population yesterday. New Day, located at 809 North Campbell Avenue, offers a variety of services for the unsheltered community. There, people can take a shower, do their laundry, receive mail, and access resources ranging from healthcare to legal aid, according to Adam Bodendieck, the Senior Director of Homeless Services for Community Partnership of the Ozarks, Inc., which operates the center. The building is the former home of Legal Services of Southwest Missouri and was purchased and renovated through approximately $3 million in city-administrated American Rescue Plan Act funds, Bodendieck said. Approved by city voters in 2023, the adult use marijuana sales tax revenue is dedicated to public safety, substance abuse services, housing, and mental health services. The day center is open Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Bodendieck said that day center offers spaces for people to rest and relax, like a long library room with cushioned seating and books available for loan, and like a cafe area that has free coffee, multiple desktop computers, currently awaiting the arrival of their keyboards, and free Wi-Fi. New Day is now the home of Community Foundation of the Ozarks One Door program, offering housing assistance and other resources for those experiencing homelessness in Greene, Christian, and Webster counties. The program was formerly housed at the O'Reilly Center for Hope at 1518 East Dale Street, but that center now serves families with children who are homeless or at risk of becoming so. One Door offers a central point of entry for intake, assessment, and referrals for housing and shelter services for adults, according to the CPO website. One Door services available on site include healthcare and mental health care, assistance with benefits like the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, and Medicaid and legal services. Bodendieck said some partner agencies, among them the Department of Social Services, AIDS Project of the Ozarks, and Jordan Valley Community Health Center, are already present at New Day, and some will be joining in the coming days. "It's an opportunity to connect," he said. He added that volunteers are stepping up to provide added programming like art and music therapy. "That's the purpose-driven component," he said. "We're setting up a very intentional framework to give people the opportunity to work on their goals, whatever the goals may be, and to make programming towards them." With one day in, Bodendieck said there were only a few small hiccups, like a wait on signage for interior doors as people learn a whole new layout. "It's a little bit of an adventure, but so far so good," he said. "The reception from people who spend their day at the facility has been good," he added. "People have been very kind and gracious. There are a lot of the folks that we know we would typically see at the O'Reilly Center for Hope, so they know us and we know them. We're trying to work together to do something really exciting." Some of the people lined up outside of the building before opening time today offered positive reviews of the approach. One person, bundled inside a sleeping bag with his black Labrador Retriever mix, said he had attended on the first day and rated it pretty good. Another, waiting inside a wheelchair, was all smiles, noting, "Any day the Lord wakes me up is a good day." Jason Robinson, an unsheltered 11-year resident of Springfield, said New Day seemed fine to him, though he cautioned that CPO's efforts can only go so far. According to Robinson, the city of Springfield needs to revisit its views of homelessness. "It's against the law to be homeless in Springfield," he said, going on to explain that being homeless means one is constantly forced to be on the move. "A place like New Day, where a person can relax without having to relocate, is beneficial," according to Robinson, but he noted that drug and alcohol abuse and mental health issues like bipolar disorder make the problem a complex one to address. "Springfield needs to do more to address the problem," he said.
Galloway CID hasn't filed tax resorts or paid city fees since 2020. Article written by Marta Mees of the Springfield News-Leader. A couple of key points. A special sales tax in Galloway Village has collected over $200,000 since 2020, but no community improvement projects have been completed. The Galloway Community Improvement District, CID, has been out of compliance with city and state regulations for 5 years, and the CID board is now working to correct its financial reporting, pay owed fees, and move forward with its original beautification goals. For 5 years, some businesses in Galloway Village have been collecting an additional 1-cent sales tax to go towards community improvements. While the tax is estimated to have been brought in over more than $200,000 since 2020, no projects have been funded, and annual financial reports documenting revenues received from the tax have never been filed. In 2019, Springfield City Council approved the creation of the Galloway Community Improvement District, CID, a separate political subdivision that can impose a sales tax to refund public improvement projects after a petition was filed with signatures of more than 50% of property owners that account for at least 50% of the assessed value within the district. The Galloway CID, established to continue for 20 years after inception, encompasses roughly 87 acres along Lone Pine Avenue between Republic Road and just north of Lacuna Street. When the CID was established, it identified projects such as mowing and landscaping, holiday lighting and decorations, and marketing and image enhancements to be funded through the additional tax. While some CIDs are established to reimburse infrastructure costs as part of a development project, as was the case for Buc-ee's, the Galloway CID was solely focused on community improvement and beautification projects outside of any new developments. But 5 years of tax collection have still resulted in no progress, and the district has remained out of compliance with city and state regulations since establishment. And we see a shot of Galloway Village. This was taken in September of this year. COVID-19 administrative turnover was one source of problems, reads the next headline. In the past few months, the CID Board of Directors has been working to get the district books in order, tracking every transaction involving funds received, registering with the state, and paying the city the fees it owes from the past 5 years. But how did the district get so far out of compliance, and why has it taken 5 years to start fixing it? Amy Van Dam, owner of Firehouse Pottery, chaired the board until her resignation December 11th. Interviewed by the News-Leader prior to that, she said the Galloway CID suffered from the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic and also administrative turnover that made district business harder to track. The CID board is a volunteer board made of property and business owners within the district's boundaries. Quote, with everyone being business owners, we were also scrambling to try to stay on top of all the changes that were happening during that time, Van Dam said. Business owners were trying so hard to make it during COVID. Van Dam said the board had hired a CID administrator but later fired them after learning they were not completing the work promised. While the CID found someone else to fill the role and help the board with administrative matters again, she said issues were found with the work completed. Van Dam told the News-Leader she could not comment further on personnel matters. The board is currently looking to hire its third permanent CID administrator. Follows is another picture of Galloway Village back in September. Several cars and a business also pictured in the back there at Galloway Village. During the first few years of the CID, the district was receiving tax revenues from the state in the form of checks, some of which had gone stale and expired after not being deposited and being sent to the original CID administrator's office. Van Dam said the district has had almost all of those reissued and is in the process of doing so with the remainder. She said all of the CID's revenue is accounted for. Quote, none of the funds were ever missing, she says. While Van Dam said she became aware of issues and notified the board in early 2023, it was hard to make any meaningful progress as coming out of the pandemic, multiple board members became inactive. This meant the board did not have quorum and could therefore not vote to take any action. When the CID was established, the board was set to have 15 members. That was amended this September by Springfield City Council to include only 6 members. By law, the CID board is required to have a minimum of 5. The lack of quorum combined with the lack of continuity in the manager role resulted in the CID now working to correct the past 5 years of financial reporting and tracking. With the board makeup amended, more progress has been possible in recent months as the board now can more easily have a quorum. The board had hired Jessica Pearson, who led the creation of the CID in 2019 as an employee of the Green Circle project that developed Quarrytown in the area. As an interim administrator, pulled together documents, track transactions, and get the district in compliance. Quote, the board has acted promptly as soon as we identified the compliance gaps, and our sole focus has been to bring the CID into compliance and to move forward, Van Dam said. It's just that our hands were tied for a period of time until we could get a quorum. At the December 5th CID board meeting, the board discussed having to dissolve an LLC that was created in order to set up a previous bank account for the CID, as political subdivisions were not allowed to hold LLCs. As of December 12th, the Galloway CID LLC was still active, according to the Missouri Secretary of State Business Database. At the meeting, the board also discussed switching to a bank that did not charge monthly fees. The current one incurred significant monthly fees disproportionate to the number of transactions, getting errors and omissions insurance, and engaging professional services like an accountant and attorney to review documents. Quote, that is really important because we want to make sure we're complying with everything, Van Dam says. Quote, and that is a tricky thing when you are trying to be good stewards of those funds and they're limited. You don't want them to get eaten up with professional fees. Yet at the same time, it's really important. The CID is a separate government entity from the city, but when the CID was established, the city entered into a cooperative agreement with the district, which lays out requirements between the parties. Those include the requirements for the district to submit its annual budget to the city, pay an administrative fee equal to 1.5% of its annual tax revenues. The Galloway City CID has not fulfilled either of those requirements since establishment. Van Dam noted in order to authorize the payments to the city, the board needed to vote on the matter and could not do so due to the lack of quorum in early years. While the sales tax estimated to have brought in nearly $215,000, the CID owes the city more than $3,000 in administrative fees per Missouri Department of Revenue public information reports. The agreement says is laying out a process for handling default if the district fails to meet its obligations. The only recourse for the city is to pursue a civil lawsuit. Per emailed answers from Mike Schaefer, the city's assistant director of Economic Vitality, the city did not provide any formal written notice of default, as would be required for the city to be able to pursue legal action. But it's had verbal and email communications regarding or reminding the CID of its obligations. Once again, we see another same picture actually of Galloway Village from earlier this year. And under state law, CIDs are also required to register with the Missouri Auditor's Office and file annual financial reports to that and other state offices. The Galloway CID had not done so since its inception. Trevor Fox, Director of Communications for the Auditor's Office, told the News-Leader via email there are no enforcement and punitive mechanisms for CIDs that are not in compliance with these requirements. He said while many political subdivisions that have to file financial reports annually incur a $500 daily penalty for each day they're late filing, that is not the case for CIDs. The Galloway CID is one of 21 such districts within the city of Springfield. An interactive map of all Springfield CIDs can be found on the city's website. The petition process to establish the Galloway CID was started by Green Circle Projects, which developed the mixed-use Quarrytown development, which includes apartments and commercial space, just before the formation of the CID. The development firm has had representatives serve on the board. Owner Matt O'Reilly, in a written statement provided to the News-Leader, highlighted that the initial CID board, consisting of 15 members, was simply too large to make work effective, and said that it made any kind of routine action or voting nearly impossible. Quarrytown is no longer owned by Green Circle Projects. According to reporting by the Springfield Business Journal, the development was acquired by Fargo, an out-of-state real estate investment trust, in July. And Melanie Bach, president of the Galloway Valley Village Neighborhood Association, has been a non-voting member of the CID board since its inception as a representative of the neighborhood, predating her role as president. This is not something that is typically required of CID boards and was a unique addition to the district's proposal highlighted in front of council in 2019. Bach's role has allowed the neighborhood to remain informed on the CID's happenings. And following is a picture of a sign on a utility pole where the Galloway Village neighborhood. And finally, a written statement provided by the News-Leader from the Neighborhood Association Board sets two options for the CID board: to either reset trajectory with more transparency, accountability, and community benefit, or dissolve. The district can only be dissolved in the same way as it was created, by gathering enough signatures from property owners representing at least 50% of assessed property value within the CID's boundaries. And if dissolved, the revenues collected in the CID would be left up to Springfield City Council to allocate. No dissolution can take place until all outstanding obligations are paid, like the city's administrative fees, for example.
Oh, coming to us from the Springfield News-Leader, here's where to find heat and eat holiday meals in the Ozarks. Whether you don't feel like cooking at all this holiday season, or you only want to make Grandma Goldie's sweet potatoes, restaurants are serving up both meals and meats you can heat and eat with family. Here are places in the Ozarks where you can get a full meal that only needs to be heated up before serving, as well as places offering savory main courses if you want to have a semi-homemade holiday. Cracker Barrel at 2858 North Glenstone Avenue has 3 holiday meal options. Folks can pick up either the Holiday Ham Heat and Serve Feast, which serves 8 to 10 people and includes sides and dessert, for $184.99. The Holiday Ham Heat and Serve Family Dinner, which serves 4 to 6 people and includes sides, for $119.99. Or the Prime Rib Heat and Serve Family Dinner, which serves 4 to 6 people and includes sides, for $149.99. All options are available for pickup between December 21st and 24th and December 26th and 28th. Golden Corral at 2020 East Primrose Place is offering holiday meals to go, either hot and ready to serve or cold and ready to cook. Each meal serves 6 to 8 people for $149.99 and includes your choice of a whole roasted turkey, glazed ham, or bone-in pork roast, 2 quarts of mashed potatoes, a pint of gravy, a quart of stuffing, a pint of cranberry sauce, a dozen yeast rolls, your choice of a quart of buttered corn, green beans, macaroni and cheese, steamed broccoli, steamed carrots, or sweet potato casserole, and your choice of pecan pie, pumpkin pie, apple pie, or carrot cake. Orders must be made 72 hours in advance. Order online at order.goldencorral.com. While Hy-Vee is closed on Christmas Day, you can order a holiday meal for anywhere from 2 to 12 people and pick it up at 2150 East Sunshine Street or 1720 West Battlefield Road. Place orders at least 24 hours in advance online or call 417-444-6860 for the Sunshine Street location or 417-881-1950 for the Battlefield Road location. Honey Baked Ham at 1416 East Battlefield Road offers a variety of holiday meals with both ham and turkey available for pickup. The location is closed on Christmas Day, so you will need to pick up your meal ahead of time. Order online at www.honeybake.com/store-pickup/family-meals. Store phone number is 417-886-4778. King Food Saver has a choice of holiday dinners, including one that serves 4 to 6 people for $79.99 and one that serves 10 to 12 people for $89.99. Both dinners include a choice of ham or turkey, choice of sides, choice of dessert, gravy, and dinner rolls. The deluxe holiday meal, $89.99, also includes a choice of appetizer. Orders must be placed at least 48 hours in advance. Price Cutter is offering a choice of holiday dinners, including one that feeds 4 to 6 people for $89.99 and one that feeds 10 to 12 people for $99.99. Both dinners include a choice of ham or turkey, choice of sides, choice of dessert, gravy, and dinner rolls. The deluxe holiday dinner, $99.99, also includes a choice of appetizer. Order must be placed at least 48 hours in advance. If you'd rather someone just handle the meat, there are options for that too. City Butcher and Barbecue at 3650 South Campbell Avenue in Springfield is offering, in addition to catering, tomahawk beef rib roast for $45 per pound. Call 417-720-1113 to check out availability and to reserve. Crosstown Barbecue at 1331 East Division Street in Springfield is offering catering as well as smoked turkeys. Call 417-880-9237 for more information. Lolly's at 206 North 1st Street in Ozark is offering whole smoked turkeys, smoked turkey breasts, and home-cured boneless ham for purchase. The whole turkey is $7 per pound with a pre-order deadline of December 17th. The smoked turkey is $25.50 per pound with a pre-order deadline of December 19th. And the boneless ham is $12 per pound with a pre-order deadline of December 16th. Looks like we might have just missed that one. To place an order, call or text 417-369-8062. Pickup will be 10:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. December 22nd and 10:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. December 23rd.
Oh, let's continue with food news. Ty and Timber's Pizza Restaurant in Roundtree is set to open in early 2026. The 3-story Ty and Timber Pizza Kitchen on Cherry Street will be opening, as we mentioned, the first quarter of next year. Follows is a picture of Ty and Timber owners Kurt and Jennifer Marshall, and they're standing in front of a very colorful mural, kind of a 60s vibe to it, if you will, with floral and T&T. This was just taken on Thursday, December 11th. A gourmet pizza kitchen is coming to the historic Roundtree neighborhood, completing a vision years in the making for Ty and Timber Beer Company owners Kurt and Jennifer Marshall. The Marshalls have been working on the pizza concept, Ty and Timber Pizza Kitchen, for multiple years. The business couple attended pizza expos in Las Vegas and even received lessons from some pizza masters. The Marshalls are ready to bring all those lessons home to Springfield. The 3-story restaurant will officially open in the first quarter of 2026, with the goal of opening as early in the year as possible, Kurt Marshall says. Construction of the building is nearly complete, and crews are grappling with building out the interior of the restaurant. The pizza kitchen will be a separate additional building from the brewery and beer garden, which opened in 2018 and is located at 1451 East Cherry Street. Kurt Marshall declined to disclose the total investment for the restaurant addition. The plans for the restaurant addition were revealed in late 2024 when plans were filed with the city to demolish a small building on the Roundtree property to make way for constructing the 3-story restaurant, according to previous Springfield Daily Citizen reporting. See a banner here that says 3 distinct pizza styles, specialty recipes are coming, and a picture follows with a different angle of the pizza kitchen building, the Ty and Timber restaurant. Jennifer Marshall, head brewer for Ty and Timber, has become head chef for the Ty and Timber Pizza Kitchen. The restaurant plans to roll out 3 versions of handcrafted pizza. The first, Detroit style, a deep dish pan pizza layered and decadent. Jennifer Marshall said she spent a year, quote, dialing in the dough on that style of pizza. Quote, so you bake it in a pan, Jennifer Marshall said, and what makes it special is you put the cheese on there in a way that creates this caramelized crown called frico around the pizza. The Detroit style is a thicker pizza, but it's not dense, Kurt Marshall added. It's very pillowy. The second will be tavern style, a thin and crispy pizza cut up into squares. This is a style that's meant to be shared across a table, Jennifer Marshall said. Quote, of the 3, that's my favorite, Kurt Marshall said. She actually makes it, referring to Jennifer, with a slight cornmeal, so it gives a very interesting texture. Ty and Timber Pizza Kitchen will also offer a traditional round pizza with a light crust, Jennifer Marshall said. She described this style as what a lot of other pizzerias offer. There will be all kinds of toppings, and of course, Ty and Timber will offer specialty pizzas. Jennifer Marshall said she's been toying with the recipes for a long time and has even recruited help with Glenn Cebulski, a world-renowned award-winning executive chef with a pizza specialty. Quote, we've been working with him for a few years now. He's been in the industry for decades, Kurt Marshall said. He's opened dozens of different restaurants and concepts. For the Pizza Kitchen, Jennifer Marshall has spent countless hours on recipes for specialty pizzas. She's appreciated Cebulski's input and monitoring through the entire process. Just like I do with the beer, Jennifer Marshall says, I take the traditional styles, but then I add our little spin to it. The next headline says 2 full beers, large kitchen, and owners want to add to the ambiance of the whole property. And follows is a picture of Kurt and Jennifer in front of a sign saying Ty and Timber Beer Company. Unlike many restaurants, the goal at Ty and Timber, not to rush customers through dinner so they can seat the next, Kurt Marshall said. The owners are actively striving towards building an environment that welcomes patrons to hang around as long as they please, to listen to music and drink more brewskis. Quote, the whole goal of that entire space is to augment the experience of our guest. He added, there is not a bad seat in the house. Ty and Timber has partnered with a few local artists for the expansion as well. The east wall of the restaurant addition is ordered with a very colorful spanning mural by Meg Wagler. The restaurant will also feature a sculpture by artist Nick Willett. The restaurant will include 2 full bars, a large kitchen, including a deck that overlooks the beer garden. The bars will have 16 taps for all the Ty and Timber beer it takes to wash down the pizza, and altogether, the new building will have about 7,000 square feet. The buildings are located at 1451 and 1459 East Cherry Street, owned by Frankie Properties, LLC, had an appraised value of just under $460,000, according to Greene County Assessor's Office records. Those records not reflecting the additional restaurant under construction. The original organization filing for Frankie Properties lists Curtis Marshall as an organizer, according to Missouri Secretary of State records. Since opening nearly 8 years ago, Thai and Timber has changed as a concept and adapted, Kurt Marshall said. The opening of the new restaurant marks yet another chapter in the company's history. He says, "It's funny because I used to tell people that we were in the beer industry, and then after a couple of years of being in the beer industry, I realized we were not in the beer industry at all," he says. Quote, "We were in the hospitality industry. And then after a few years of thinking we were in the hospitality industry, I realized that actually we're in the experience industry." Follows another picture of the restaurant under construction with that very loud, I started to say loud, it's very bright colors on this mural. You will definitely not miss it. You will find that restaurant.
Well, from the Springfield News-Leader, we have a Willard woman charged in slaying and theft from a 74-year-old man. A woman has been arrested and charged with murder after a 74-year-old man was found dead inside a Willard home on Monday, December 8th. Jackie Baker of Willard is accused of killing a man for whom she was caring, draining his bank accounts, and reporting his death 4 days later. At approximately 3:27 a.m. on December 8th, Willard Police Department responded to the 900 block of Fox River Avenue in Willard after a call about a disturbance that led to the death of an adult male, according to a Willard news release. A probable cause statement filed in Greene County Circuit Court suggests Baker and the victim got into an altercation 4 days earlier on Thursday, December 4th. According to the document, Baker told the deputy in an interview that she was the live-in caretaker of the victim and woke Thursday to find the man in bed with her, grabbing her and holding her tight. In response, she said she kicked him in the chest as they moved through the apartment. The Willard police officer found that Baker had bruises on her arm and legs, scratch marks on her head and hands, and the victim was found with large amounts of black hair consistent with Baker's dark hair in both of his hands. Baker allegedly told the officer after she kicked him the man was not breathing. When Willard police served a search warrant at the apartment, officers found the body wrapped in bedding, rugs, and dryer sheets. The apartment had a scented candle lit, laundry-style beads set out throughout the home, and a folder taped to the air duct on the ceiling in one of the rooms. An autopsy of the 74-year-old man found that he died of strangulation and blunt force trauma. Court documents state he had 4 broken ribs on his right side, 2 broken ribs on his left side, a broken nose and blunt force lacerations in his mouth, above the right eye, above his left hip, and 2 behind his left ear. A former partner of Baker's allegedly told the Willard investigator that she has severe anger issues and has assaulted associates in the past, according to court documents. Documents filed in court also note that from December 2nd through December 4th, when the victim was allegedly killed, Baker made several ATM withdrawals from the victim's accounts, some near the area of Missouri and Oklahoma border. In total, the probable cause statement alleges she withdrew nearly $1,000 from the victim accounts, where he had received Social Security and military payments made to retired service members. Baker is charged with 4 felony counts: second-degree murder, financial institution accounts fraud, stealing, and tampering with physical evidence. The tampering charge stems from her allegedly resetting her phone to factory settings, concealing its digital contents, and impairing the investigation. She had turned herself in at the Springfield Police Department headquarters, but was later released. Willard Police Chief Tom McLean confirmed to the News-Leader. Now, she remains at the Greene County Jail with no bond. During her initial appearance, Baker pleaded not guilty. A bond review hearing has been scheduled for Monday, December 22nd. Baker has previously been convicted of forgery dating back to 1999.
Flooded roads and complaints leading to a new plan for stormwater at an Ozark development. This is from the Springfield Daily Citizen. The Greenbridge Estates development has been controversial among neighbors since it was first proposed. And this fall, heavy rain sent runoff from the site into the road and nearby properties. Following is a picture of Amy Acker talking about how the Greenbridge Estates development could affect their land. Work is continuing on an Ozark housing development that will create up to 88 homes homes off Greenbridge Road. Residents of the surrounding area have opposed the plans for the subdivision, citing a variety of concerns, from ease of emergency access to stormwater runoff and the fact that the new neighborhood will share the adjacent Stone Ridge subdivision's only entrance and exit. During periods of heavy rain this fall, runoff from the new development pushed muddy water and rocks across the road and onto some neighbors' properties. The project's engineer of record submitted a new drainage report and updated stormwater plans for the new site November 13th. Quote, "I had never seen water shoot out like that. I mean, there were 12 or 16-inch rocks all over the road, gravel everywhere," said Amy Acker, describing the aftermath of a heavy October rain. Acker, a fifth-generation resident of Ozarks, owns about 90 acres of property on the north side of Greenbridge Road. Her sister, parents, and grandmother all live nearby, Acker said, and she has big plans for her riverfront property in the future. She's used it as a venue to host community events, including a Light the Way Christian music festival. Quote, "My family prayed for about 20 years that they could be next to us on the river so we could take care of each other," Acker said. Now she worries that the new development will present more flooding concerns for their properties. Quote, "Any more water at all could really wreck basically my whole family." The next banner reads, "Development changes the pattern of water drainage," and we see a picture of Greenbridge Road homeowner Victoria Lyle looking out onto the future site of Greenbridge Estates, which borders her property. Victoria Lyle's property borders the site of Greenbridge Estates. Her former neighbor owned the land it is being developed on and sold it before moving. Since developer Terra Innovations acquired the property, the site has been razed with trees removed. Those changes to the site alter the natural flow of stormwater. Lyle was not surprised when she began seeing stormwater directed onto the road and her neighbors' properties. Quote, "It's literally everything everyone said would happen," she said. And following a shot from October of this year, video showing water streaming from the north side of the Greenbridge Estates property. Ozarks Special Road District Commissioner Dwight McNeil told the Daily Citizen in late November that the road district met with representatives for the developer, contractor, engineers, and the city of Ozark after the October storm. "The flooding would have caused some permanent damage. We couldn't just allow that to happen," McNeil said. McNeil also stated that the developer for Greenbridge Estates attempted to cut a new access onto Greenbridge Road without submitting a permit to OSRD. Effective December 1st, the road district ended a road maintenance agreement with the city of Ozark. Greenbridge Road is still being maintained by the Special Road District because some of the land surrounding it is in unincorporated Christian County. The next banner reading, "New infrastructure will carry runoff to the Finley River." And what follows is a picture of a Aguilar trucking truck exiting the easement leading to the Greenbridge Estates work sites on Tuesday. This was picture was taken just earlier this month. According to Ozark Communications Director Maria Nider, both the city and the road district have approved the developer's revised stormwater plans, which were submitted in mid-November. The developer did not respond to a request for comment. A drainage report from the developer's engineer of record noted the drainage area flowing towards the ease increases in size as the site is developed. The report also described an existing natural channel to the north of the property that spills out onto East Greenbridge Road, causing drainage issues at that location. And the next picture showing a video of water flowing over riprap around a detention basin on the west side of the development. The revised stormwater plans specify new infrastructure that will collect stormwater from the West Detention Basin and the channel that currently flows onto the road after heavy rain. A system of pipes and curb inlets will direct stormwater downhill to the north, routing it along 10th Avenue to a grate at the intersection of Greenbridge and Riverside Road. The water will ultimately be flowing into the Finley River.
All right, coming to us from the Springfield Business Journal, we have a donation that nets the Ozarks Food Harvest over 2 tons of chicken. There's a photo here of Bart Brown, Ozarks Food Harvest President and CEO, as he accepts a poultry donation from Smart Chicken, represented by Joe Horvath, the account manager. Ozarks Food Harvest, Inc. is in possession of over 2.6 tons of chicken following a donation from a Waverly, Nebraska-based company. According to a news release, the Springfield-based nonprofit received 5,300 pounds of poultry through Smart Chicken's 23rd annual Smart Giving Holiday Challenge campaign. This donation comes at a time when families are facing rising costs, making it harder to access the nutritious food that they need. said Bart Brown, president and CEO of Ozarks Food Harvest, in the release. We're so thankful for Smart Chicken's longstanding partnership, especially as we head into the most challenging time of the year for folks facing hunger. Ozarks Food Harvest plans to distribute the chicken to its network of 270 faith-based and community charities in southwest Missouri, officials say. The nonprofit's network serves an average of 90,000 people each month, according to the release. Through Smart Chicken's annual holiday campaign, it donates 10% of poultry purchased in November to Ozarks Food Harvest with participating retailers including Apple Market, Food for Less, Harder House, and Price Cutter. We're proud to partner with local grocers and customers through our Smart Giving Holiday Challenge to help families facing hunger, said Joe Horvath, account manager for Smart Chicken, in the release. Smart Chicken has donated more than 172,200 pounds of poultry to Ozarks Food Harvest since 2004, according to the release. It's a lot of chicken.
Yes, indeed. And Ozarks holiday attractions earn accolades from USA Today readers. First off, we see a picture of some of the Kansas Town's homage to Oz, about all the Wicked vibes. That's definitely something to put on your list to check out. And the Ozarks is snag spots once again in 2 USA Today's 10 best lists. Facing competition from across the nation, 2 Southwest Missouri institutions named the best hotel for the holidays and the best holiday theme park event. Industry experts nominate their favorite points of interest and attractions weekly for 10 best, and the public then votes on the nominees for a month. Now, in addition to Ridgedale and Branson being recognized, St. Louis also scored an accolade. Garden Glow at the Missouri Botanical Garden was named the 4th best display of holiday lights at Botanical Gardens. But readers say Big Cedar Lodge is the best hotel for the holidays. And we see a shot of the entryway of Big Cedar Lodge in Ridgedale, all in holiday lights and sparkle. Guests are invited to celebrate the season surrounded by nature's beauty at Big Cedar Lodge in Ridgedale this year, which was named the best hotel for the holidays. The nature resort turns into a winter wonderland in November and December, with more than 4 million lights illuminating the property, as well as festive decorations and events. Events like ice skating and the Holiday Tram Light Tour are available to overnight guests and the public, as well as self-guided Christmas light tours. For those who prefer indoor activities, there are things like breakfast with Santa, a gingerbread build-off, stocking, and ornament decorating. Overnight guests have the opportunity for in-room scavenger hunts, as well as visits from elves, Santa, and Mrs. Claus. And Silver Dollar City's Old Time Christmas named top holiday theme park event. Following is a picture of a beautiful Christmas tree and some folks taking in all the beauty. USA Today readers naming Old Time Christmas at Silver Dollar City as the best theme park holiday event for the 8th time. And this is a picture of a 47-foot live Christmas tree adorned with 30,000 lights lit up during nightly ceremonies. Readers said Silver Dollar City in Branson has the best holiday theme park event in the nation, with an Old Time Christmas for the 8th time. The event will be running through January 4th and is an opportunity to not only see the theme park decked out in holiday cheer and more than 6.5 million lights, but also to take in the season's sounds and tastes and maybe do just a little gift shopping as well. Quote, "What means the most to us is that this honor comes from our fans," said Brad Thomas, president of Silver Dollar City Parks and Resorts, in a press release. "Here in the Ozarks, we believe in slowing down, sharing a smile, and welcoming folks like family. And our citizens pour that spirit into every Christmas light and every moment of joy. Silver Dollar City's master craftsmen demonstrate everything from candy making to glass blowing to blacksmithing and have items available for purchase. Folks can watch live performances like A Dickens Christmas Carol, The Living Nativity, Heart of Christmas. This is also the last chance to catch Rudolph's Holly Jolly Christmas Light Parade, which is in its final season. Quote, "If you're feeling hungry after all the celebrating, an Old Time Christmas also serves up tastes of the season, like caramel apples, wassail, sweet potato pie, hearty soups, and a whole lot more."
While we're on the subject of holidays, let's take a look with 417 Magazine inside North Star Christmas Company. On historic Commercial Street in Springfield, Missouri, you can find an eclectic Christmas store dedicated to all things merry and bright. There's a headline photo by Katie St. Clair, the photos of Derek Baker and Jennifer Bessie Baker, who are co-owners of the North Star Christmas Company. Alongside them is their little dog who is super cute and dressed up for the holiday. Have you ever heard of a bull in a china shop? On Commercial Street, you can find a much sweeter version, a bulldog in an ornament shop. Miss Peppermint Piggy Patty is a 4-year-old English bulldog and part-time security guard at North Star Christmas Company, a year-round Christmas store based in Springfield. To North Star's co-owner and operator, Jennifer Bessie Baker, Piggy was a Christmas gift of sorts. She adopted her at Christmas time. As you peruse the quaint shop located across the street from La Rue Bistro, you might become lost in a forest of Christmas trees while a warm cinnamon smell wafts through the space to the sound of Mele Kalikimaka. Each tree incorporates its own distinct aesthetic, the handiwork of Bessie Baker and her family. During other holiday seasons, including St. Patrick's Day and Mother's Day, some plastic evergreen trees take on a completely different seasonal character. This passion for festivity started well before Bessie Baker opened North Star alongside her husband Derek Baker earlier this year. She said that they have always gone all out for celebrations, something that was important when she and Baker discussed their family plans. My husband and I both grew up in homes with great parents, but homes where they did not decorate, Bessie Baker says. My parents are just not holiday people, and neither are his parents. They're not birthday people. It's a very regular kind of day for them. When Bessie Baker and her husband got together and ultimately decided to get married, they talked through what their future might look like at home. They knew they wanted celebrations like birthdays and Christmas to feel extra special. Next, we see a couple of photos from inside the store that are beautifully decorated and very festive. There's an ornament that says, "I love you to Springfield" in back with Santa and his reindeer. The couple's Christmas collection grew so big that they started a business, first selling online, then later in antique mall booths, including relics. Around this same time, Baker began installing Christmas lights for customers, a service the shop still offers alongside Christmas tree decorations. The move to a storefront was a natural progression as their demand increased. Bessie Baker describes the couple's business as a side hustle, as the two currently work in government and are set to retire in 2027. "We just want to give back to our community," she says. "We have very stressful jobs, both my husband and I. This is the exact opposite of that." While Branson has its own array of Christmas shops, Bessie Baker says what differentiates North Star is her Springfield-specific ornaments, often purchased as souvenirs, as well as her personal connection with customers. "We try to give really individualized customer service," she says, "especially me because I'm a chatty person." To Bessie Baker, the store prioritizes the magic of Christmas all year, something she defines as the feeling of giving and caring and loving. Some of the most endearing aspects of North Star Christmas Company are its Christmas elves, that is, the Baker's children. They are often hard at work around the store, greeting customers and working the cash register. Some of these children were adopted through the foster care system. Bessie Baker says their experiences reinvigorated her passion for festivity. She estimates that about 20 kids have passed through her home over the past 6 years, and she has made sure to go all out for holidays and birthdays. "I truly enjoy bringing kids into the home and letting them experience an over-the-top Christmas because it may be the only one that they ever have," she says. In her brick-and-mortar store on C Street, she is helping spread this whimsy. In fact, she and her husband hand-selected the store's location because of the street's character. She wanted a Christmas store and not a mall store. C Street, Bessie Baker says, is also a metaphor for her marriage. The street's mix of historic architecture with eclectic shops matches her husband's traditional nature and her love of unique items like the ornament of Michelangelo's David in red bikini trunks or the chrome Buddha. In the future, Bessie Baker hopes to keep the business in the family. In particular, she sees her 15-year-old daughter, Paige, taking over, citing her entrepreneurial spirit. She has shown a true initiative to want to have a business, she says. Could that mean there will be a changing of the guard dogs when it's time for Piggy to enjoy her retirement?
Well, Missouri State and Arkansas State will be kicking off in the inaugural Xbox Bowl that's set for tomorrow night at the Ford Center at the Star in Frisco, Texas at 8 p.m. And I was just looking here at who is favored. Missouri State versus Arkansas State predictions. The picks for the Xbox Bowl, well, Wyatt Wheeler, Missouri State 27, Arkansas State 24. Another one-score game for Missouri State seems fitting, he writes. The Bears know how to get it done, and it's hard to bet against Jacob Clark in his final collegiate game. Arkansas State's pass defense isn't the best either, and the Red Wolves are more prone to turnovers than the Bears are. Adam Rittenberg with ESPN predicts Missouri State 34, Arkansas State 30. Rittenberg wrote, "Expect some points in this one as the two defenses rank 105th, Arkansas State, and Missouri State not far behind, ranked 109th. Both teams have played a lot of one-score games, but Missouri State's passing game will be the difference." CBS's Ross Kelly predicts bet on Arkansas State to cover. He wrote, based on Sportsline's projection model, that he expects Arkansas State to cover at just a little over 1.5 points. The Athletic, most are going with the Missouri State. The Athletic staff has 7 writers picking the Bears to win and 4 going with the Red Wolves. And Andrew Cayley also says, go with Missouri State. Missouri State is another former FCS, has found plenty of success in its first FBS season. Bears quarterback Jacob Clark can huck it a bit, and Arkansas State has one of the worst pass defenses in the country, ranking 131st in its defensive success rate on dropbacks. Again, the game is tomorrow night, so we shall see.
All right, coming to us from the Springfield Business Journal, Mid-Missouri Bank names new Springfield community president. Mid-Missouri Bank announced this morning that Kim Calhoun has been named community president for Springfield area Mid-Missouri Bank locations, the largest Mid-Missouri bank market in its 10 Southwest Missouri communities. Her new role is effective January 2nd. Calhoun replaces longtime Springfield leader Dan Durgis, who is expected to retire early next year. In a news release, Durgis was credited with transforming the bank and meeting growth targets since he went on the job in 2011. Calhoun was born and raised in Carthage and received a bachelor's degree in business administration from Missouri Southern State College in Joplin. She joined Boatman's Bank of Southwest Missouri in 1991. In over 3 decades since then, Calhoun worked with a variety of banks before joining Mid-Missouri Bank in 2012. Calhoun has served on the nonprofit boards, including Springfield Southside Kiwanis and the Victim Center, where she is currently a board member. She is also a member of the Springfield Rural Missouri Incorporated 504 Loan Committee. It's an honor to be trusted by the leadership at Mid-Mo after all these years to continue the winning legacy we've established in Springfield and the rest of Southwest Missouri, Calhoun said in the release. This area is seeing continued growth in all directions, and our community bank plays an important role in fostering that growth and success.
And we'd like to thank you for listening to the Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service. Hope you'll tune in every day, Monday through Friday, here on the Blind Community Thrift Store's YouTube channel at 10 a.m. For more up-to-date news from the Springfield News-Leader, Springfield Daily Citizen, Springfield Business Journal, and 417 Magazine. Listen after we're live on the Audio Reader Network at www.reader.ku.edu. All broadcasts played over KSMU's subcarrier airwaves at 67 kilohertz on 91.1 from 3 to 5, Monday through Friday. Contact Audio Reader Network for more information on how you can receive a pre-programmed radio.